All right, so good morning from Winfield, Kansas. As you can tell, I'm rocking a new cap. I picked up a Swift company souvenir when I was out in Phoenix. Um, so yeah, basically this is my first run doing a solo post teaming. Besides, I did do 2 days worth of solo a few weeks ago, and my teammate took a few extra days off, a few more than I did. But yeah, things are going pretty well, pretty eventful overall, I'd say. Um, so I started off. We pretty much wrapped up our trip. Iman got to his car and at the terminal, and I took over from there. And I took the truck up to Monte Vista from Mir Loma, and picked up a load to Sand Springs, Oklahoma. So I pretty much started making my way. It was still dark, but by the time I got about an hour outside of the Southern California metropolitan area, I hit a pretty awesome sunrise, one of the best ones I've probably seen to date. And then I was right on the border of Arizona, and I was hungry, so I ended up looking for a Mexican food place. Being from San Diego, a breakfast burrito is always a good find. So I searched for this place, found one that was open, and went and parked and all that jazz. It was in Blythe, California, right before the border. And turns out they were about 7 or 8 blocks from the actual spot that they were said to be on their Google Maps. So it took me a little while to kind of walk the right direction. One of the counter guy had to even walk out of the store and like wave me down, but it was worth it. I even got two. I got one for later. It was one of the best ones I probably had. So besides all that, like I said, I did go to the Swift store because I was supposed to make my way to Oklahoma, but I knew I was going to need to reset my clock. So I figured I'd go to Phoenix, stop off at the terminal, do some videos, kind of make use of that time. So I ended up picking up some stuff, which was cool. I even bought this hat, and then showed it to my mom and my stepdad, and my stepdad sends me back a text like, "Hey man, I want one." And then I go in to get him one, and by the time there's a whole row of them, so I actually videoed the whole row, told him to pick his choice. And the guy behind the counter, it turns out his wife had to go to the hospital because of high blood pressure, and so he pretty much was like, "Dude, I gotta close." So I just kind of grabbed the one I wanted for him. If I get a chance, I'll go and exchange it for the one he wanted, my stepdad wanted. There just wasn't enough time. He had like a minute to respond, and he took more than a minute, so I didn't want to hold up this guy who's trying to get out of there for his wife. So I ended up taking my 34-hour break to reset my 70 in Phoenix. One of the main reasons I wanted to do it there, besides going to corporate, was to see my buddy Paul, who lives in Tempe, and I stayed with him once before during training, and so I ended up getting to hang out with him, which was awesome. We went out for some dinner and some drinks. I got a full rib, not a full rack of rib dinner, but a full serving. Um, and the beans, I had beans, and I had I think mashed potatoes or something like that. Um, Beans and fries, excuse me. And the beans tasted like tap water, like straight up. I told my buddy Paul, I was like, "Dude, these taste like tap water, man." And I told our server, I was like, "These beans taste like tap water." And she goes off, does her thing, and she doesn't come back for a little bit. And Paul's like, "Dude, she doesn't care, man. She's just doing her thing. She totally forgot about it already." She comes up to us with two more free drinks because she asked the cooks, and it turns out the beans were from the day before. They dried out a bit. They added some tap water, and what do you know? I freaking called it, and got some free drinks out of it. So that was kind of cool. And then I actually went to the restroom, and usually it's the women's first, the men's second. I go into the restroom, I come out, and the kitchen's right there. So I poke my head in to kind of joke with the guys, like, "Hey, I'm the guy that guessed the tap water beans," and they start laughing at me and mentioning the bathroom. I was like, "What the hell does a bathroom have to do with anything like this?" So like, "Dude, you just went in the ladies' bathroom." And it didn't even hit me, man. I last time I was in Phoenix visiting Paul, I saw a girl go in the men's bathroom and then go into the females, and then what do you know? I did it myself, but they were set up backwards, man. So it was kind of a mutual laugh, talking to the kitchen. Um, so then after spending that night with Paul, the next night, that next day, I pretty much slept in, got some computer stuff wrapped up, and he took me to the truck that night around 9:30 after some dinner, grabbing some pizza. I got a calzone, and so I slept in the truck that night. Got up at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 6:30. or no, 5:30, and so that way my 5 o'clock was set Pacific time for my 70, so I was good to go. Start making my way through New Mexico, hitting some really massive crosswinds. The truck is swaying and pretty freaky, and I thought that was scary. And then I get to Santa. Oh, man, I can't even think of it right now. It's not Santa Ana. Wow, Santa. I can't even think of it right now. But yeah, so I get to a spot in New Mexico to stop for the night at a TA, and it's already pretty cold. It's already showing signs of snow. I go in, I heat up the rest of that calzone. I even had a guy who's like, "Hey man, where'd you get that?" And I was like, "Dude, Phoenix, man," because no one wants typical Subway or any of that stuff. So that's kind of funny. And then I ended up picking up a chocolate milk because I drink a lot of chocolate milk on the road as a nice treat, whatever. And I knew I didn't want to come back in the morning, so I figured I'd take the chocolate milk, leave it outside the truck, and that's my battery. I leave it outside the truck. Shut the fuck up. And it'd be cold in the morning. So anyway, I did all that stuff, and when I woke up, I was supposed to get up at about 3, and yeah. I had them on. I had my flashers on, but I didn't want them on for this video, so I turned them off. So now I'm going to turn them off, because I don't want the noise. So anyway, so I wake up, I'm supposed to get going about 3. I wake up, I need more sleep, wake up at about 5, I see a sheet of white on the windows, and it was still dark. I was like, dude, if I'm going to take on my first real snow day, I'm going to do it with light out. So I ended up getting up at about 7, found that chocolate milk. It was pretty much a milkshake at that point, so I had to let that thaw. But I pretty much picked my time to leave. You never know when you leave. Determines pretty much, you know, who you're around on the road and all that stuff. So I ended up leaving. And it was first pretty much snow, man. The roads weren't completely clear. I was going over white a lot of the time. I saw about 6 trucks accidents. There was a pickup truck in front of me with a trailer, and they pretty much sidewindered their trailer for a good almost 10 seconds, and the guy regained control, and it was all good. But that was a little freaky right in front of me. And then you know, the snow accumulates on the sides of the road, in between each lane, and then a little in each lane in the middle, which goes under the vehicles. And when you you know, change lanes and all that, it's good to avoid hitting those mounds of the snow. And I ended up hitting one at one point and felt like the trailer was swaying a little bit. Pretty much freaked me out. But I got through the whole day. I was really thankful. It was pretty freaky, you know, first wind and then snow. And then I get to the Flying J in Tulsa, or actually I drop off my load in Sand Springs, Oklahoma. My freaking landing gear was just frozen so bad. I ended up going down fine, but my lock wouldn't. There's water in it, so it wouldn't open. The guys gave me some antifreeze, so I poured that on there and was able to get it off and all that stuff. So then I get to Flying J in Tulsa. It was jammed, man. I ended up getting one of the last available spots where I had to park like 6 feet in front of other trucks so the people to my 90-degree could get out in the morning. I ended up going in watching the Broncos-Patriots game. I came in right at halftime, so it was pretty awesome. Even though I prefer Denver, but they were up 24-0, and they lost 31-24. So between that, I ended up kind of BSing with some of the other truckers about driving in the snow. One guy, a 20-year veteran, said, yeah, man, if you got to put chains on, don't drive. It's not even worth it. Wait for the roads to be cleared in the morning. So that was all good advice. Another guy that works at SWFT ended up telling me that there's an actual heater in the truck. As long as you turn the key the opposite way, you can blast this heater, which is pretty strong. Because that night when it was Santa Rosa, New Mexico, excuse me. That night in Santa Rosa, I was freaking freezing, man. I woke up, it was 16, it was 14, it was 11 degrees, and I got through it all. So then waking up, not knowing where I'm going, they want to send me to Arkansas, they want to send me up to Northern California, not figuring anything out, ended up sleeping in a bit more, finally got a message with an available load up to Winfield, Kansas, and then I'm in a T-call to Nogales, Arizona, which is heading to Mexico. So at least I'm going the right direction. If I can't make it home for Thanksgiving, I already talked to my buddy Paul in Phoenix, so I'll get to at least have a dinner in Phoenix. I could probably do an empty from Nogales to Phoenix. And I'm pretty much here. So It's pretty cold, but it's a pretty clear day, and I'm pretty stoked to get back on the road. And I'll check in later for sure.